We've dealt with the basic operations of polynomials, including addition, subtraction, and multiplication, but now we have to consider what if division is involved. A rational expression is a way of showing two polynomials that are being divided. It's simply a ratio of polynomials where the denominator cannot equal 0. And these are what we call rational expressions. Remember, rational numbers are those that can be written as fractions. So here we are just taking polynomials now and putting them into fractions. We're going to look at simplifying rational expressions and finding the restricted values to keep that denominator from equaling 0 in this video. There are 3 steps for simplifying rational expressions. They are to factor, which we talked about in our last video, cancel any like terms, and then restrict. We're going to look at 2 examples here. If I have a rational expression such as x cubed minus 8 over x squared minus x, step 1 is to factor. Remember from our factoring video that we always look for a least common denominator first, and in the top there is no least common denominator, but there are only 2 terms, which is indicative of one of our special patterns, in this case, difference of cubes. Following that pattern, when we factor, we get x minus 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 4 on top. And then on the bottom, again, we look for an LC, a least common multiple. In this case, we're going to pull out an x, which leaves us with x minus 1. Notice here, nothing cancels. So we do not cancel anything out from the top or the bottom, but we do still have to find our restrictions. When we're worried about restrictions, we are only worried about the denominator. And you take each piece of the denominator, x and x minus 1, and you set them not equal to 0 and then solve for x. In this case, there are 2 things that are restricted. X cannot be 0, and solving for x on this one, I get x cannot be 1. Those are my 2 restrictions. As a second example, consider something like x cubed plus 2x squared minus 3x over x plus 3. Again, our steps are factor, cancel, restrict. On the top, when we factor, we always look for a common factor first. Here we can pull out an x, which leaves us with x squared plus 2x minus 3 over x plus 3. Then we have a trinomial. Those 3 terms tell us to use the AC method, which if you need a review, you can go back to that video. But if we factor using the AC method, we end up with x minus 1, x plus 3, all over x plus 3. Now we go to step 2, which is cancel. These are like terms, so we can cancel here, and our simplified form is x times x minus 1. When you go to calculate restrictions, always go back to the part before you canceled. And then remember, we take that denominator, set it not equal to 0, and in this particular case, x cannot be negative 3.